Another important development has happened with regards to South Africa's case against Israel, which is genocidal intent at the ICJ, the International Court of Justice. This important development is that an European Union member has joined, gave its support for South Africa. In this country, Slovenia. Hello, I am Mahlet Ayele, your host at Connect Africa, bringing you the latest from the continent and particularly from the Sahel region. So this one is actually the ongoing case of the South Africa case, which is accusing Israel of genocidal intent, or claim of genocidal intent against Israel. So Slovenia has joined it, making it the first country to join, to give its support as a European Union country. So this is really an important development. Really, let me just share with you. So now, what comes really, another revelation that came with it is that this is not actually the first time, although South Africa has laid, the case at the ICJ, but checking and looking, investigating through the crimes or the what's happening between the conflict between Israel and Palestine. Did not the motion of genocide did not start now. Actually, in 2023, in November, the United Nations Security Council has gave, the consent, or to create a committee that look into crimes committed by both Israel and also Hamas. And Slovenia was actually suggested by the European Union to join that. So although it was not really named as genocide, but you can see that this kind of motion was there already, but it was actually South Africa that claimed it for the first time as genocidal intent and brought it to the ICJ. So now Slovenia has decided to formally join the proceedings in the International Court of Justice, seeking an advisory opinion on Israeli control of and policies in the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem. A motion that precedes actually the South Africa's genocide allegation heard in the court last week. Now, the UN General Assembly voted in December 2022 to request the ICJ, a principal organ of the UN, issue an advisory opinion as to whether Israeli policy in the territories violated international law. So it was into this advisory that Slovenia has become a member by a recommendation of the European Union itself. Now, in the wake of the current Gaza and Israel conflict, the Slovenian foreign minister, their deputy foreign minister, Minister Fonia, announced last week that Slovenia has decided to actively participate in the motion for an advisory opinion due to the current conflict in Gaza and the situation in the West Bank. So that's why I say this is really interesting. First of all, two things. One is Slovenia joining the first European Union country. The second one is the revelation that actually this kind of motion started before in the UN, one of the most important organ, trying to investigate what is going on in the Gaza conflict and whether Israel has committed a violation of human rights law or an international law. So these are the two findings that came with this. So just to give you a bit of a background, countries that have supported South Africa in its claim of genocidal intent against Israel is that most of them is the OIC members, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, which has 57 countries. So the only countries out of that and who gave their consent or their support to South Africa are Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Jordan, Malaysia, the Maldives, Turkey, and Venezuela, and also Namibia, which is not part of the OIC, but still has given its support to South Africa. These were the countries. So what we know about the European Union also, as we have updated you here, is that the European Union countries were really silent on this one. The US and UK have clearly and publicly criticized South Africa for its, first of all, Germany actually, also Germany has said it may have a harsh response against Hamas, but it clearly is not a genocide. That's what Germans said, not me. Okay, and also UK and US has accused South Africa for its claim of genocide against Israel. So most of the European Union countries have been silent. Now, why they are silent is that the reason they gave is this is not for us to comment, this is not for EU to comment. Let me just go ahead and read some of the things what they have said. Okay, so the EU, whose efforts is to mediate in the Israeli-Hamas war, have been plagued by its 27 member states' incoherent positions, has mostly maintained silent on the case because it's a bloc. As a union, should come up with a uniform thing, but because of its incoherent position, it could not come with anything, so it was silent. Now, a European Commission spokesperson in this week reaffirmed the bloc's support to the ICJ, but stopped short of backing the genocide case against Israel. Now, this is in quotation. Regarding this specific case, countries have the right to submit cases or lawsuits. Now, the European Union is not part of this lawsuit. That's what this is all in quotation. Now, Peter Stanos, the spokesperson of Foreign Affairs, who said this. This is not for us to comment at all. This is what the spokesperson said. Now, the tight-lipped response follows the European Union's effort to tread a neutral line on the conflict, endorsing Israel's right to self-defense, while calling for the protection of civilian life in Gaza and unhindered provisions of humanitarian aid. Now, German not only said that you may accuse Israel for its harsh response, but it's not a genocide. Also added that if anyone has to be claimed or accused of a genocide is Hamas, because its agenda is wiping out Israel from the map. That's what the Germans said at the ICJ, defending Israel. Now, also, we have Brussels also has refrained Belgium from collectively calling for a ceasefire in Gaza, what is called a humanitarian pause. This is a bill that has been passed, a resolution, by the United Nations, as you all know. Now, we have seen a major division in the UN members. Anyway, now Germany, Austria, and Czech Republic considered staunch allies of Israel and has voiced skepticism about the case of claiming genocide against Israel. Now, those who would commit or want to commit genocide, if they could, it's in quotation, are Hamas. This is what I said it earlier, the German said. Okay, now let's see one comment by Petr Fiala. He's a chancellor. He says in his Twitter, okay, in his Twitter message, the ICJ is an important building block of the international rules-based order and we respect its independence. The crime of crimes, allegations of genocide should never be made lightly. We oppose any attempts to politicize the ICJ. Israel is a democracy that has the right to defend itself against Hamas' barbaric terror on peaceful communities in accordance with international law. Let us not forget that anyone can be attacked by brutal terrorists hiding behind human shields. We need to stick together in opposing the brutality of terror worldwide. So this was tweeted by Petr Fiala, who is the Prime Minister of Czech Republic, a strong ally, known for being a strong ally of Israel. Now, the question is, Slovenia also seems to be neutral from, its view. Why I said that somewhere in this announcement, I have read that also Slovenia condemning, look, this is what Slovenia has consistently called for additional sanctions against Hamas and violent Israel settlers in the West Bank, as well as for the establishment of a permanent ceasefire in Gaza, unrestricted humanitarian access, and the early start of a two-state solution peace process, she added. So this is the deputy prime minister saying this. Now, maybe so there's a way that Slovenia, perhaps because so far we haven't seen any condemnation of Hamas, against Hamas by South Africa's case. So maybe coming of Slovenia into this picture, we may also hear condemnation of Hamas. I don't know, but let us see what will this bring. The hearing will start, I think, on February 19th, the first hearing as the ICJ. So at that time, Slovenia will already be there. Thanks again for being here, for tuning in. So that was it, an important development regarding South Africa's claim of genocidal intent against Israel at the ICJ. It's a huge topic right now in the world, but there are more things also happening in the world. But you can see, some things are so politicized, not really politicized, but some things I would say, allow me, it's sexy for media, some things are not. I'm an African, we have cases in Sudan, a forgotten conflict. We have thousands people are dying in Congo. There is war going on in Africa, but nobody's trying, including South Africa, who's leading this case. Hopefully South Africa will take the experience and the courage, and then we'll do the same for African countries. Go ahead, please, and subscribe to the channel. And if you like what we bring you here, please give it thumbs up. It will help our YouTube algorithm. And also, let's empower each other with information and knowledge. So please go ahead and share the video. Do not keep it for yourself. This is a message to be spread so that we reach to many people. If you want to help us further, go ahead and please donate to our PayPal account. It's in the description section. I will also pin it in the comments. That will help us to be here more often. It's a ciao for me for now, and I'll see you on the next one.